All right, good morning. We are going to begin today hands and knees, and then we will work our way up to standing, do a little bit of standing work, and then finishing up with some breathing and a wee bit of twisting. So have a chair handy and have a block handy. Okay, let's begin. On hands and knees. And feel your hands on the floor. And if you need anything underneath your knees, then go for it. Add a little bit of extra padding. And from here, start to move through your pelvis and your spine looking forward. And then other way. Now, a lot of times with cat and cow, the movement is just dropping down and lifting up. Okay? Or it's dropping down and really contracting the back muscles to make the extension happen. I'm going to offer it up a different way today. So think about your pelvis and start moving your pelvis around these femur heads, and then go as specific as possible through that spine, and then take yourself through the pelvis, lumbar spine, and then up. So this is a slow going cat and cow, where you can feel some of where you might be a little bit sticky and stuck. And you can also slow down your breath so that as you come into your cow, which is this extension here, that's your inhale, and then coming the opposite way, which is our cat, that's the exhale. So just take it easy. If you're up with me and it's just after 5 a.m. or even perhaps 4 a.m. your time, then just notice how your body was with your sleep. Yeah? And if it's a little bit later in the day for you, then just notice how you've been with your day, whatever sitting or standing positions you've been in for your work or any other tasks or activities you've been doing. Just notice how you are in your body, in your emotion, in your thought. Okay. All right, let's go from there to here. Take one foot out to the side. So we're in gateway now, and I want you to imagine a big old beach ball over here, and you're going to round around that beach ball. Hand is very butterfly pressure-like on your leg. That's what that would be. So you're not leaning into or collapsing into. There's some control through your torso, and the hand's just super light. And just check in with your breathing again and what that breath feels like. And of course, if you need padding under your knee, then go and grab that, okay? All right, other side. Bring that foot out. Good. And over the beach ball you go. Lovely. Okay, let's turn one direction and come into a lunge now. Let the pelvis stay level as you move into your lunge. There will be a little bit of anterior tilt. More what I'm wanting to not go for is that. So allow that trajectory to come through your hips, your knees, and your ankles. Just feel what's going on between your legs and your pelvis, your spine, your rib cage. Notice the level of connection you have with your feet. And then come on out, other side. And forward we go. It's interesting to be able to look at your back foot. Sometimes those back toes will turn. So just take a look at that and come back to start, reposition your foot and see if you can bring that foot backward. And when you come back into your lunge, you might actually feel the movement different in through the front of your hip, just as a result of what you did with your foot position. Okay, so now from here, we're going to come up into standing. So you can do this a couple of ways. You can just come up forward and up. You can come back through kneeling and up. But you decide how you want to come up into standing. And here we are in our standing position. And notice yourself with your feet on the floor. Feel 3 points in the bottom of your feet. The ball of the foot, the base of the pinky toe, and center of the heel. And just notice what they feel like touching the floor, how the floor feels against them. Roll your shoulders so that you're inhaling as the shoulders come up, exhaling as they're coming back and down. Inhaling them up, exhaling them back and down. And then bring your legs wide and think hips, leg bone and pelvis. Rotate those leg bones out, right? So the toes have turned, but the toes are turning as a result of these leg bones, right? It's the bottom of the kinetic chain. Feel those 3 points on the bottom of your feet again, center of the heel, ball of the foot, base of the pinky toe, and then let's come down into a goddess. And then come back up again. Notice what happens with your legs. So bring your hands to the outside of your thighs. Press those thighs back ever so slightly. Bring those yourself down again. Good. And then back up. And then down. And then up. And down. Good. Just feeling that motion through the hips. And then notice if there's any extraneous tension up and through here that you don't need to utilize. Good. And then back up. Brilliant. Okay. Bring those legs back together now. Come back into Tadasana and now feel, having done that, what your body now feels like, what your breath feels like. Okay, let's take one leg up towards you. Just get a feel of your balance this morning. And then other side. Brilliant. Okay, and then bring that down. All right, so now pelvis is going to stay level, and we're going to bring a foot up. Now, if you're coming into tree and you're thinking, nope, not today, then just leave your toes on the ground, maybe even lean your heel against your foot, or you can slide it up. If you've got more in you and you want to take it right up, then you can go into here. Okay, and then hands come together. You just decide for where you are at. And sense back into the bottom of your foot, as well as the foot that's against whatever part of your leg, and feel those 3 points of your feet again. Come into it from a feeling place as opposed to a thinking place. Just feel your foot against whatever you're standing on and against whatever you're wearing on your leg, whether it's skin or whether it's your pants. Good, and then bring that out. All right, other side. So now bring that foot up. Wherever it is, whatever makes sense. And then if you want to go a little more, you'll see here that I play around a lot with just moving my leg bones specifically as opposed to coming forward and lifting. Right? If I come forward and I lift, I'm making this more of an arm pull and a movement through my back and my spine. And I'd like to play around with keeping that as much as I can in through the hip, and that helps strengthen the standing leg as well. All right, so here we are. And just feel. Just feel. Good. And then come on back. Now stand. And now notice what has just happened in you, having done those two positions. Feeling your legs, feeling your feet, maybe feeling your breath. I did a neti pot just before coming in, and I can still feel a little bit of the fluid. You can probably hear it in my nose a little bit. I can still feel a bit of the fluid up in there. But that's starting to move as I move through here. Okay, let's take those legs away again, and now we're going to rotate those leg bones. Pelvis is level here. Okay, now let's come into a triangle. Nose and pubic bone are staying at the same line. Good, and then come back up again. Now let's feel those 3 points of your feet on both feet, and now move through the hips. And wherever you place these hands, you might place one hand down here, the other hand up, but let this bottom hand be butterfly pressure. If you're noticing that you're hyperextending your knee, It's just an indication that there is a disconnect between your hip and your foot. So you might want to come out a little bit. See where that knee starts to bend a little bit or come out of hyperextension. Just notice what that feels like. Good. And then come back up. Good. And then other side. And in we go. Good, and then coming back up. Great, and then rotating that leg back, come back into standing. Let's come back through to tree again, sliding that foot wherever you want to slide it, thinking about that hip, sliding it up, sliding it up, sliding it up. Good, if that makes sense. So you choose where that position is that makes the most. Bringing the hands up, maybe taking them up overhead completely. And just feel now where you are at in tree. Good, and then coming on back. And other side. Whoops. And then coming on back. Okay, now let's bring one ankle up and let's sit. And coming on up, unrotate, bring the leg straight out, and bring the leg down. Really easy breathing. Connecting foot to pelvis and hips, and then up, leg out, and then down. Brilliant. Okay, let's bring that chair over. So bringing the chair into this, let's now bring one leg up. Now, if this is too high to come, then you can bring your foot up onto the chair or up into the block like this. So, leg is up. Okay, now, bring your hands together and just do a very gentle rotation one way and then the other way. Now what I want you to pay attention to is this leg bone in the hip socket. And can you keep as much of the movement in through your rib cage? So in through this rib cage. And just notice if your leg wants to move along with you for the ride. Allow your nose to stay in line with your breastbone. And you could always place your hand on the outside of that thigh and just allow a bit of pressure between the thigh and the hand. Okay, now face the chair and let's do the same thing. Now we can rotate towards that leg bone and then away. Twisting is one of those movements that can be so easily lost. And yet, okay, and then coming off. And yet, it's so important, right, for us, for so many of the activities that we do, with walking, running, hiking. So many of those things require a background of, or very much a foreground of twisting. All right, so now we're here and we can twist. All right, and so we're playing around with this orientation between our rib cage, our spine, and our pelvis. So watch if this leg wants to come with you, and can you place your hand on that thigh? Maybe as a way of noticing. And then also notice if your ribs want to jut out as you move into the twist. Rotations through here are generated by your obliques. Okay, now let's come forward this way. Okay, and now in this orientation, we can begin to twist. Brilliant. Okay, and then come away and now stand and notice what you notice. Coming back through to tree just for fun, bringing that leg up, maybe bringing it up a bit higher, and now notice what you feel through your standing position, maybe even in through your balance, maybe in through what you're available through here, and then other side. Possibly, and not that it's a thing, but possibly you're going a little bit further, or there's more smoothness or other quality in your movement. Whoop. Good, and then come on out. Great, and bring that down. Okay, now we're going to take the chair into another movement where we're going to be in a tabletop and bringing the chair out, and we're going to come into a position like this. And now watch this elbow. So I'm going to bend this elbow, one elbow down towards the chair. And then I'm going to bend the other elbow towards the chair. So I'm connecting my elbow and my shoulder blade as I move. So as my elbow bends, the idea is that my shoulder blade also is protracting along with that elbow bending. So elbow moves in flexion, shoulder blade moves in protraction, so away from the spine. The tendency is when those blades are a bit sticky, then the rib cage wants to get too rotating into it. So watch out for that. Elbow, elbow and blade, elbow and blade, elbow and blade. Perfect. Okay. And then just be here for a moment. Let yourself move backward with your hips, feeling your feet on the floor. Lovely. And then coming on up. All right. And notice what you feel. And then coming on over into sitting. And now notice what you feel. Center of your bottoms of sitting bones, feeling just the general verticalness of your torso. You don't need to lift forward or lift up. Just allow yourself to feel those sitting bones. If you want to, move a little bit of your butt cheek away from either side. It's not like getting under there and yanking on your butt cheek, but just pulling off one side to the other side can sometimes feel those sitting bones a little bit more grounded on a chair. And be aware of your feet on the floor. Take your shoulders back up to your ears. Roll them through, some shoulder rolls. So inhale up, and then blades come back towards the spine and then down. Inhale up, blades come back and then down. Okay, lovely. So now that you're here, now feel yourself inhaling and exhaling. And try to keep it as normal without like trying to make it bigger. Just feel what it is. And then bring your hands together, so your middle finger is under your chin, and let's take another twist. Stay in connection with the breathing. You'll notice that I'm not saying inhale on this phase or exhale on this other as it relates to twisting and breathing. I'm more interested in you actually breathing. So just notice where your breath comes in and where your breath goes out. Nice. And then come on down with the hands. Return back to just connecting with your inhale and exhale. And we'll bring in a Viloma where you're going to inhale fully and then exhale. And then inhale halfway and take a momentary pause. And then inhale the rest of the way and full exhale. Inhale part way, momentary pause. Inhale the rest of the way and full exhale. Inhale halfway. Now you go in your own rhythm. And one more cycle. And after this last cycle, now inhale and exhale without the pause. And then let's do an inhale now. And then on the exhale, we'll just put a little pause halfway through. So you're inhaling fully, exhale, pause, exhale the rest of the way. Inhale, exhale halfway, pause, and exhale the rest of the way. Sometimes people can find this one a bit more difficult to find the middle point, or that second half of the exhale just sort of flitters off. So see if you can find that middle point. All right, one more. And now just breathe in and breathe out and notice what it is that you're experiencing in your whole sense of self through all your layers and levels. Lovely. All right, bring your hands together. Breathing in with ease and out with gratitude. Thank you very much for the practice. Thank you for joining me. We'll see you next time. Mwah. Take good care.